In the past 2 years, we have experienced many changes never seen before. The limitation of our living space have begun to distance people from one another. Some of us are feeling trapped, while others may feel confined. Fortunately, we have found an outlet through new technologies. We can meet with friends virtually in games. Business can be conducted over video conferences. This new world that we are living in is the next playground. To provide the best user experience, MSI continues to innovate and utilize the latest technology to create the most high-performing products. Through software integration, we place our products closer to our users. With MSI products, the entire world is yours to take. On MSI's 35th anniversary, we are honored to cooperate with Intel and help you experience the new and different technological feats of the new 12th generation.
Hi everyone, I'm Mandy Mott, and I'm the Vice President of the Intel Desktop, Workstation, and Channel Group. It's great to meet you all virtually today to celebrate MSI's 35th anniversary. MSI has always been a terrific Intel partner, and this marks our 35th year of working together. Both of us have contributed to providing innovative products and services to our users around the world, and that tradition continues with our latest products. Thanks to MSI's high-quality materials and optimized layout, MSI Z690 series motherboards can release the real power of the new 12th Gen Intel Core processors. The 12th Gen Intel Core desktop processor architecture integrates two all-new x86 microarchitectures into a single die, with optimized workload optimization, plus new performance enhancements such as PCIe 5.0, DDR5 memory, Thunderbolt 4, and Wi-Fi 6E. MSI also adopted effective heat dissipation designs, including heat sinks and AI cooling solutions, which help you maintain high performance while working, streaming, or gaming. We appreciate the strong collaboration to deliver these excellent products together and give our most sincere congratulations to the MSI team. We look forward to continuing this great work together in the future. Thank you, and I hope we'll be together in person soon.
Thanks a lot. Hi everyone, welcome to the next playground. This is Alex. Technology is an unknown field for all of us. No one can foresee how far we will achieve in the future. But don't be frustrated. MSI is definitely your unlimited access to a world. We gather here and show you the next playground. In this October, Intel graced us with latest 12th Gen Core processors, and we bring out the MSI Z690 motherboards in return. The entire gaming series lineup, including MEG, MPG, and MAG. For sure, our godlike motherboard will also be joining the lineup soon, so stay tuned. The mighty power faces, the brand new designs, and the astonishing features. Everything you want is provided by MSI Z690 motherboards. We have been using PCIe Gen 4 for a while, and this year we finally welcome the latest PCIe Gen 5 solution. All MSI Z690 motherboards support PCIe Gen 5 solution for effective data transfer. The PCIe Gen 5 slots are equipped with 4 extra solder points that can uphold heavy graphic card perfectly. Moreover, to deal with high-speed PCIe Gen 5 operation, all MSI Z690 motherboards are upgraded to have server-grade PCB to maintain performance and reduce the latency. To release the power of the latest 12th Gen Core processors, we work on the heat dissipation design. MSI Z690 gaming motherboards feature extended heatsink, K7 MOSFET thermal pad, and a heat pipe, which all help dissipate the heat that MOSFET and chokes generate. Also, we have M.2 shield folder with double-side thermal that can sustain maximum NVMe SSD performance. For hardcore users, our MEG series feature aluminum backplate to dissipate the heat as well as protect PCB. The power design also perfectly matches the new core processors. The MSI Z690 gaming motherboards have also been upgraded to having at least 16 phases. With MSI Core Boost technology and dual CPU power connectors, the MSI Z690 motherboards provided the CPU's stable current for impressive performance. Additionally, MSI Z690 ATX gaming motherboards feature at least 4 onboard M.2 slots for rapid transfer speed, including Gen 4 and Gen 3. In light of user-friendliness, all MSI Z690 motherboards adopted MSI's innovative Easy M.2 clip, which provides our users a smoother PC assembly. As shown here, users can install an M.2 SSD effortlessly. We have always been thinking from the perspective of our users, considering the convenience of installation and the increasing demand for high-speed transmission speeds. The MSI Z690 motherboards have fully adopted from Type-C. The MEG series motherboards use the USB 3.2 Gen 2x2 with a transmission speed of up to 20 gigabits per second, with speeds 42 times faster than USB 2.0. These new motherboards are a perfect match for our new cases, with all support USB 3.2 Gen 2x2. On top of that, the MEG series motherboards on Thunderbolt 4 has an interface bandwidth speed up to 40 gigabits per second, which provides us a great experience and flexible connectivity. With the optimized memory layouts, the MSI Z690 motherboards features MSI's Memory Boost technology. We've shown a great improvement in performance and efficiency. As expected, all MSI Z690 motherboards will support latest DDR5 solution. The frequency upgrades from 3200 MHz to 4800 MHz, which improved by 50%. According to MSI's OC Lab tests, the MSI Z690 motherboards can overclock 30% more performance compared to the standard frequency. At the same time, MSI Z690 motherboards have a great stability. Thanks to MSI OC Labs tuning, we can promise that MSI always presents technological advancement. For our different users, MSI's products are always compatible with hardware from other brands. For the best compatibility, MSI has cooperated with many partners to test our motherboards. The MSI qualified vendor list includes well-known memory brands. It is my honor to invite one of our best partners. Let's welcome Kingston.
Hi, I'm Mike Money with Kingston Technology. On behalf of Kingston, congratulations to our friends at MSI on your 35th anniversary. We're honored to be part of your celebration and to commemorate our partnership with the launch of MSI's new lineup of Intel Z690 motherboards and Kingston's DDR5 memory solutions. DDR5 is the 5th generation of double data rate SDRAM and introduces many new features over the previous generation DDR4. These new features enhance productivity for work and education, improve overall system performance for content creators, and take gaming to the next level. Clock speeds for DDR5 start at 4800, a 50% increase in memory bandwidth over the last standard speed class of DDR4 at 3200. And that doesn't even count what can be done with overclocking. MSI's exclusive Memory Boost technology maximizes DDR5 to deliver the best performance, ensuring broad compatibility and stability with an optimized memory circuit design. DDR5 dramatically increases efficiency through the use of dual 32-bit subchannels. Combined with double the banks and double the burst length makes DDR5 more exceptional at handling data for the next generation of multi-core processors. As speeds increase and capacities go up, data integrity is now more important than ever. DDR5 introduces on-die ECC inside the DRAM component, capable of catching errors before they even make it off the DIMM. Technology introductions like these highlight the importance of having partners like MSI. MSI's commitment to delivering best-in-class technology solutions to a global market is a shared goal with Kingston. We have a saying, Kingston is with you. Together, we build the technology to empower the gamers, creators, and businesses for today and the future. Thank you.
MSI has been dedicated to the PC industry for 35 years. We think about what our customers need, we try to meet their demands, and solve their problems. According to one of our recent customer feedback surveys, over 50% of our users are concerned about installation and mechanical compatibility when building a PC. Another survey indicates that many DIY users experienced some form of compatibility issue during PC assembly. To address these concerns, MSI is introducing a new concept known as Powered by MSI. Powered by MSI aims to provide a brand new experience to the DIY community. It keeps the flexibility of a DIY PC and offers the stability of a desktop. With Powered by MSI products, users no longer need to worry about compatibility and stability risks. We put in a lot of effort to make sure all MSI products, including motherboard, liquid cooler, power supply unit, and PC case, work well with one another. Our liquid coolers are even compatible with Intel's 12th Gen CPU's performance, thanks to their heat dissipation effects. We went through rigorous testings to ensure their overall performance meets our highest standards. In short, Powered by MSI improves the harmony of all MSI products to provide a worry-free experience for our DIY users. To tie things together, MSI Center and Motherboard BIOS provide a convenient way to manage your system. You can monitor real-time system information, such as CPU voltage, CPU temperature, system fan speed, and more. You can synchronize the RGB lighting across your entire setup. You can customize the fan speed based on the temperature of the VRM, CPU, M.2, and PCIe devices. You can also keep your drivers and BIOS updated through MSI Center. Now, let's hear our partners' feedback.
Всем привет! Меня зовут Артем, я специалист HyperPC. Мы больше 10 лет используем компоненты MSI в самых сложных и значимых проектах. Компьютеры на железе MSI – это всегда удобство и комфорт при сборке ПК. На материнской плате сейчас везде предустановлена задняя панель. Все слоты имеют хорошую защиту, и вблизи монтажных отверстий нет никаких важных компонентов. Также есть удобная LED-индикация и контроль подсветки прямо на материнской плате, и всегда удобное подключение любых проводов.
Если вы счастливчик и ваш компьютер собран на базе компонентов MSI, это означает то, что подсветочку вы можете себе регулировать на любой вкус. Переходим в программку Mystic Light, выбираем свой любимый цвет, щелкаем «Применить», выбираем любой стиль подсветки и как по волшебству мы смотрим то, что наше настроение мгновенно улучшается. Здесь есть режим полной синхронизации всех компонентов, либо можно выбрать что-то отдельно, ну и, конечно же, несколько профилей для любого настроения.
Пользователь может контролировать работу всех продуктов MSI. Очень легко с помощью приложения MSI Center, либо его более геймерской версии MSI Dragon Center. Именно это приложение позволит вам отслеживать состояние системы, а также облегчит настройку параметров оборудования. Смотрите, здесь можно активировать гейминг-мод, к примеру, что сделает ваш игровой процесс более плавным, либо же включить ночной режим, и это облегчит чтение при плохом освещении. В общем, функционал широчайший, рекомендую к использованию.
Of course, not all gamers are familiar with PC building. This is why MSI also provides complete pre-built systems. All you need to worry about is which games to play, and we'll take care of the rest. MSI gaming desktops fully implement the concept of Game Unlimited into the product from start to finish to embody the spirit of true gaming. G stands for gaming power. A true gaming desktop needs to have a powerful hardware and effective heat dissipation to maintain the best system performance. A stands for aesthetics. Besides performance, we also care about exterior design. This is why we connect the lighting effects of the desktop to the state of the game to create an immersive gaming experience. M stands for multitude of connection. We pride ourselves on the rich transmission ports of MSI gaming desktops. MSI gaming desktops are equipped with the latest Thunderbolt 4, 2.5G LAN, and Wi-Fi 6E transmission so that we can provide gamers with the fastest gaming data transmission through both wired and wireless connections. Lastly, and most importantly, the experience provided through complete software and hardware solution integration. Through MSI Center and the HMI gaming dial, gamers can adjust system performance settings intuitively. MSI's latest gaming desktops are equipped with 12th Gen Intel Core processors and NVIDIA RTX 30 series graphics cards. The new generation of CPUs enjoys an upgraded structure, going from 14 nanometers to 10 nanometers. The number of cores has also been increased from 8 to 16 cores, as well as having a big and small core hybrid technology that can provide players with a smoother gaming experience. With the release of Intel's 12th Gen CPUs, MSI also launched a new series of gaming desktops. Whether you're a hardcore gamer who likes AAA titles, or a gamer who likes compact-sized gaming systems, or someone who plays mainstream games with mid-tower PCs, MSI gaming desktops will be your best choice. What's more, all of MSI's 12th Gen gaming desktops come equipped with the latest Windows 11 operating system. This brings us to Direct Storage and Auto HDR, which are both exciting technologies that many people are looking forward to. Direct Storage can break through the past limitations of data transmission and provide gamers with a faster game loading speed. Auto HDR allows many games that previously did not support HDR to be re-experienced in HDR. However, it should be noted that Auto HDR needs to be equipped with an HDR supporting monitor. This is why most MSI monitors support the HDR function. When we talk about HDR, we think about better color range, better contrast, and better brightness. We foresee that with the introduction of Windows 11 and Intel's 12th Gen CPUs, users will begin to care more about the picture quality and color performance of the monitors due to the added performance. In the past, gaming monitors are mainly focused on response time, but things are changing. People are beginning to care more about color performance because of the prolonged time spent with these monitors. With more AAA title games releasing and PCs getting more powerful, it's all the more important for gamers to be provided with an excellent monitor. This is why MSI launched a series of flat and curved monitors with quantum dot technology. These monitors are here to provide fast response time and stunning visuals. Our QD series received many awards and is well loved by our users. Now, let's listen to what our partner thinks about our MSI QD series monitors.
MSI's worked super hard on R&D to ensure that no stone was left unturned with this flagship release. It's pretty clear that after using this panel for close to a month now, that MSI has delivered a groundbreaking display. One that's so good that I'm even happy to talk about it like this with you guys. A panel so good that I've been using it daily. It's not every day that I feel confident enough to talk about a display like this. It's pretty rare. Whether you're a gamer or a content creator who's looking for the ultimate 4K setup on your desk, the MSI Optix MPG 321UR-QD is definitely one to check out.
MSI and their MEG 274 QRF QD quantum dot display. This right here is a great monitor from a company that is very reputable in gaming, and not only is it very good for that, but at the same time has a lot of features that give you excellent day-to-day image quality as well. The design is overall very nice with the stand and also the LED lights on the back. It's also very adjustable, but the quantum dot technology gives you nice and captivating colors around real needs and wants, and also gives you like a very accurate representation of the real image. This monitor also has a rapid IPS panel, making it the fastest liquid crystal IPS panel, which can achieve a 1 millisecond G-to-G response time, which traditional IPS panels can't achieve. So for anyone who also plans to game in their setup, the 165Hz refresh rate with that 1 millisecond response time will be very noticeable, paired with the NVIDIA G-Sync compatibility.
So far, MSI QD series had a great reputation. However, we're not going to just stop there. We'd like to introduce our latest feature, QD Premium Color. Besides hardware improvements made by adding a QD film layer in the panel, MSI also made software optimization that help improve color calibration. These designs are made so that gamers can have the best in-game colors. Please stay tuned for more information and supported models. Besides QD Premium Color, we also have other powerful features packed in our monitors that are made to help you. Night Vision AI helps you find enemies in the dark, and Optic Scope helps you aim better. Now, we are adding a mini LED backlight. Thousands of tiny mini LEDs and quantum dots are here to give you the most vivid colors and the greatest contrast ratio. Gamers will get to enjoy the tiniest details and experience ultra-realistic game scenes, all thanks to the special backlight control. MSI worked with AUO to create MEG Artemis 341 Mini LED, the world's first curved 34-inch monitor with QD Premium Color and Mini LED backlight technology. It has 1000R curvature with 800R center curvature. The most impressive part is this monitor's wide range of color and contrast level, capable of providing different colors and true black color. Additionally, the peak brightness can reach 1000 nits thanks to the Mini LED technology. Now, let's give it to our AUO partner.
AUO and MSI have joined forces to launch the world's first 34-inch 21:9 Mini LED curved gaming monitor. With AUO M-Lite powered by exclusive adaptive control technology, it has ultra-high brightness, a medium to 1 contrast ratio, deeper black levels, vivid color, and greater depth. The 1000R widescreen curved design creates an immersive experience when playing games or watching videos. This is definitely a highly anticipated high-spec curved gaming monitor.
The MEG Artemis 341 Mini LED will be available in 2022, so stay tuned. Besides our upcoming curved gaming monitor, we also have flat monitors focused on esports gaming. Next-gen consoles are now producing refresh rate up to 120 Hz. Consequently, more console gamers are looking for a high refresh rate gaming monitor. Remember our exclusive console mode that was developed for console gamers? It has already been widely adopted on most MSI gaming monitors, providing console mode features to these players. This is also why we're releasing a new console gaming series. The new console gaming series is designed to provide the best console gaming experience with great image quality, zero tearing, and less input lag. Since MSI just recently got into console gaming, we decided it's best to collaborate with Microsoft for more insight and experience. After many discussions, tests, and revisions, we proudly introduce to you our Optix MPG321UR QD Xbox Edition, a beast tailored for console gaming. Furthermore, MSI developed an exclusive KVM 3.0 feature that allows gamers to adjust many monitor settings directly via the controller. This means that console gamers don't need to use keyboard mouse to adjust monitor settings. For those who prefer bigger screens, MSI will have something for you soon. A new 55-inch gaming monitor featuring previously mentioned console gaming features and OLED panel technology will be coming soon. We believe this will be an excellent option for console gaming on a big screen. With our gaming products coming to an end, allow me to make transition to our commercial segment.
These are our brand new Intel 12th Gen all-in-one PCs and desktops designed for business professionals. Both of them are the best way to style a desk, a home, or even a home office. They are both aesthetically pleasing and extremely functional for office workers or learners alike.
Let's move further to our flagship Summit series, which aims to bring eye care, ergonomics, and an efficient work environment to the table all at once. It also comes with accurate color display and a smart sensor. With the exclusive MSI Productivity Intelligence app, the Summit MS321 will automatically detect surrounding ambient light levels to adjust its on-screen brightness. It also supports KVM function, which lets you easily toggle between two computers with a keyboard mouse. It even supports active noise cancellation to improve your video conference quality. The Summit MS321 will not only help you stand upon the summit, but will also help you go beyond the peak. The world is full of surprises and challenges. New challenges also mean opportunities when to step out of the box and give yourself a new perspective. This is why our modern series is here for you.
Every day you wake up and get ready. But how often do you feel inspired? Can you see things in another way? MSI Modern Series.
Are you still struggling to build the best home office? Our Modern Series monitor is a 2021 Red Dot Award winner, and it is the best choice for home and remote workers. Eye care and ergonomics are the most important factors when considering a professional monitor. The MSI Modern Series monitor is equipped with anti-flicker and less blue light technology designed to protect your eyes. Furthermore, you can find yourself the most comfortable viewing position with the 4-way adjustable stand. MSI provides all kinds of choices that can increase your efficiency and spark your productivity. Not enough? Want to stand out more? We have the perfect monitor that can match the decor of your home or office. Back in the 17th century, ultramarine blue is the color reserved for the most important person or artwork. So you know, our modern MD241 Ultramarine series is here with the utmost sincerity. No matter what kind of space you're trying to complete, it will definitely fit in. Looking to add new colors to your home or office? The modern MD241 should be yours. We see ourselves as a playground that offers all sorts of recreational facilities for different types of people. What makes this playground so special is the unifying theme of providing the best products and the most advanced technologies. Thanks to these technologies, the way we communicate and interact with one another are no longer limited to a physical space. This is a new era. This is the next playground. The train to the future is now boarding, so let's go. Thank you all for joining us today at the next playground and MSI's 35th anniversary, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. See you soon.